Come on.
Hello? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I have General Manager Morgan Tuck, Head Coach Rachid Meziane, and Brittney Griner here to do Brittney's press conference and then a media availability about free agency. So please keep all of your questions for Brittney in the first half. We'll let her go, and then we'll take all of the free agency questions. We're going to start with a quick intro by Morgan, and then Rachid, and then we'll launch right into questions. Go ahead, Morgan.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you guys for being here and tuning in. Obviously, today's really, really exciting because we get to celebrate BG, but also I think it's kind of the start, a little bittersweet moment of like the beginning to the end in Connecticut. And so I think this year, we're obviously really excited to celebrate our players, but also our former players, our fans, all the supporters that we've had, and to really kind of look at the change that's on the horizon as an opportunity for growth, but also to really celebrate what we've done here. This year, this offseason was insane for anyone that's followed. It's been a little bit different than what we're used to. But I think when we look at the end product and being able to sit here today, that it was worth it, kind of the work that we had to put in. And one thing that we focused on was we wanted really, really good vets to be able to come to our team, not just because of what they bring off the floor for our younger players, but also what they can do on the floor. And to have someone like BG, who is a legend, right, at all parts of our game, all over the world. She's going to be a Hall of Famer, but also the impact that she has off the court, I think, is really special. So really excited to be here and to be able to celebrate BG.
Good morning, everyone. So good to see you again after this off season. So I want to focus on BG today. I am very, more than excited. I am honored to have, BG in our team. She's a great player, a wonderful person. So in fact, she's one of the best players in the world. So she achieved things on in her career that few other players have. So and she's not done yet.
All right, taking questions in the room. Please raise your hand. Emily.
Hey.
Welcome to Connecticut. What was the process like for you of exploring free agency in this accelerated process, and what kind of were the factors that led you here?
Thank you. Good morning. It was definitely an accelerated experience with everything, how quickly everything was moving. My process, I would say, was kind of easy, honestly. I'm a person that likes to make a decision, kind of quick, soon, and stick with it. And coming here after speaking with Coach, speaking Morgan, and with other people, around the team, it was an easy decision for me. I know what the fan base is here. Fans always turn out for all the games. I've made some friends here. Actually, there's a young girl that used to be a ball kid out here, actually, and I've watched her kind of grow up through my career. And it's just moments like that are, sweet. You remember it. And when you're making a decision about where to go, where to be, the community to be in, all those go into it. And it just makes it way easier for me.
Maggie.
Good morning. Welcome to Connecticut. You joined a roster where, you bring a decade of experience of playing in the league here, which this core is really young. How much are you looking forward to being kind of the veteran presence in the locker room and being able to really help develop these players?
Seen a lot of basketball, different levels, different types. Been played with a lot of different players as well. I think the experience that I can bring from, being on, teams that have won, teams that have kind of struggled a little bit. I feel like I've seen it. I can bring that knowledge, that common. I've been, to the finals, deep run in playoffs, championships, and I think everything that you can bring and pour into the younger players is just going to make them better, make us better, make our organization better. So I'm just looking forward to that. Looking forward to just sharing my experiences. Some of my best leaders shared their experiences, grabbed me, pulled me underneath their wing, and I'm looking to do the same thing.
Hi, Brittney. Good morning. Welcome to Connecticut. As Morgan alluded to, there's the relocation, and your time in Connecticut is going to come and go pretty quickly this season. How are you viewing this small chapter of your career, your time in Connecticut, that's kind of transitional for a franchise and then therefore the player?
Well, right now I'm here. We're in Connecticut, so we're going to celebrate being here in Connecticut, celebrate what's came before us, and closing that out as well. Yeah, I mean, I know there's a move coming, but my main focus is right now in making this season the best for the fans.
Dom?
Morning, Brittney. Welcome.
Thank you.
You did when you signed last week, or when you had reached agreement, you did reference going home, and I was just wondering, what you remember of the Houston franchise, and which was obviously won championships, and what your take is on maybe what maybe gives you optimism that a second chance will succeed in Houston.
Well, one, I plan on handling my business and doing what I need to do here. So, looking ahead, and being hopeful. And also, the Houston Comets, it's no secret. I came into basketball late. Got into basketball in ninth grade. I do remember going to a Houston Comets game with my dad. It was my first experience with WNBA. And I remember sitting there, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, this is dope. At the time, I still was thinking I was going to be the next Tony Hawk at the time. That was before the growth spurt too. So different views, but I just remember like, this is dope, like thinking like this is really cool. And then once I learned the history, learned everything, learned about the players, what they've done there, the championships, the level of what they played at. I knew that was something that I would love to be a part of if there was ever a chance. And, like I said, just definitely hoping that that's still the case, afterwards, and would love to be a part of that.
All right, taking questions from Zoom, starting with Jordan. Go ahead.
Hey, BG, Jordan from Television Network. Hope you're doing well today. So you mentioned earlier that you were under a lot of leaders throughout your entire career. Is there one leader in particular that left a huge impact on you into how you carry that leadership into a younger team like this Connecticut Sun?
Yes. I mean, I played with Diana Taurasi. She taught me a lot, and I learned a lot by watching her pulling me to the side, her having tough conversations with me, when I was younger, on where do I want my career to go. And I appreciate her for all those moments. Penny Taylor, Candace Dupree, Sue Bird. I've had a lot of really good people pour into me, and I've been lucky enough to be able to watch them an arm length away. So
Thank you.
Sierra?
Good morning, BG, and welcome to Connecticut. I just want to know, what type of energy and impact will you bring to the Sun culture?
Hope it just brings a veteran presence. I still feel like I'm young, still feel like I got youth in these legs. So I'm looking to get out, run, and do all that, and play at a fast pace with the younger group. And I just feel like I bring. I hate talking about myself like this, but I feel like I bring a positive attitude to things. I try to look at things from a different aspect. We all know I've been through trials and tribulations. So, when things get rough, I think I know how to pull through and, find the silver lining.
Daisha?
Hey, BG. Excited to cover you this season. In light of the WNBA draft, obviously you were the #1 pick in 2013, and that was actually held in Bristol. So what do you remember about that moment? And, what would your younger self kind of think in terms of, not only the longevity of your career, but being back in Connecticut now in a Sun uniform?
Yeah, nah, it started here for me, and it's kind of cool to be back. Just reminiscing about all those different things. Draft night, I just remember being so nervous. Like, oh my God, I was so nervous, couldn't talk. It was different. Wish I wouldn't have put that nail polish on too. That was a little different. That was a little different. I found myself. So, but nah, I just, like I said, basketball is rich here. Basketball is super rich here. There's so many basketball fans. They know the game, they love the game, they know their players. And I just remember, feeling that then and, throughout my career and playing here as well. So now I'm ready to be a part of it.
I'm taking one more question from Zoom before going back into the room. Gabby?
Hi, BG. Welcome to Connecticut. I want to know what your first impression was of the Sun last season as a competitor and like what stood out to you when you played against them.
Oh man, I remember playing them, and I remember you never could take your foot off the gas. Like and no matter what the score was, no matter what the season looked like, I remember like you could not let up. This was a game they definitely prepared us for. They were like, you go in there, you play around, you will get beat. And I vividly remember there was a game where, we won't talk about the score at the time now, but yeah, it was, yeah, it got kind of rough there. But no, every player bought in, every player was playing hard. And that's what I look for. Like I want to play basketball. The main thing's the main thing, and that's winning, and that's playing the game. And it seemed like that was the main thing, was playing the game. And I'm looking to be a part of that again.
Front to your left.
Yeah, hi, good morning, Brittney. You kind of mentioned it before, but you've been through a lot on and off the court. What's something that most people don't realize about your journey?
I mean, that's a tough question. I feel like I've been an open book, so everybody kind of knows everything now, honestly. But I mean, it's tough when you go through things. Like, I mean, I don't think people understand like how tough that is, how much it lives with you, how little instances can bring up, different things. But it really does make you stronger, going through adversity. It really does give you a different perspective on life, and the moment that you have and opportunities that you have. So I feel like I seize those moments better too now with that. But it's just a lot. It's a lot to process, a lot to go into, and life doesn't stop. So yeah.
Hey, Brittney, Gabby, from NBC Connecticut right here. This is obviously Connecticut Sun's last season. And yes, you're new into this franchise, but you are not new into the WNBA. And what kind of responsibility do you feel to this being a really emotional season for longtime basketball fans here in the state?
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be an emotional season. Like I said, basketball is rich, and that's how you know it is. If it was, oh, they're leaving, and or and it was whatever, then you would know that you didn't build something sustainable. Something was built here that was rich and done the right way. And fans, they don't want to see it go, and I can respect that. And that's why we're going to do, the best we can to give them an amazing performance this season and highlight them, highlight the fans, highlight the players that came before us that made it possible. But yeah, no, seeing the reaction and how much the fans and people around here love the Connecticut Sun. I mean, why would you not want to play for them?
Right here. You played against Morgan once in college, then a few times in the W. Just what's it like to go through this free agency process and work with her now on the kind of the back end of this and having someone in her shoes who's gone through what you've gone through in the sense of the league and all this stuff?
Like you said, somebody that's went through the fire, went through it, has done it, lived it, knows our experiences. Having a GM here that, that was a player first, that was also something that was, big for me too. I feel so comfortable going and talk to Morgan about anything. I feel like I could bring her anything. She understands where I'm coming from, what it's like for us, road trips, games, housing. I mean, it's just, the list goes on. And I think she's doing an amazing job. I think we need more players going into this, into those roles afterwards as well. And yeah, I just want to say, yeah, you're doing great.
I don't remember how many times she's beat me, but
see, we're not, it's about who we're gonna go beat now.
Emily?
Making the transition from Phoenix for the first time in your career last year, just kind of what did you learn from the experience of starting with a new franchise, a new system, and incoming here? Just kind of what do you feel like makes this a basketball fit for you?
Well, just speaking with coach and just, style of play and everything and, who he's coached too as well. And I mean, the resume speaks for itself. So I knew playing would be good. Coming here, So I had no worries with that. I was actually looking forward to it because the right fit matters, and that transition from Phoenix to Atlanta for me. I'll be honest, it was rough for me, a little bit, the mental side of it, it was different. Been somewhere, basically my whole career. And, that was definitely, it was tough for me. It was an adjustment. It was some growing I had to do as well on my part. And, I'm gonna be honest with you. But I feel really good about this. I'm in the right headspace. I feel like I went into it. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I was looking for. And you don't know what you don't know until you know. And I know exactly what I want. And this was the right move.
Going back to the Zoom, Julian.
Hi, BG. Welcome and congratulations. And I hope you enjoy it. I was just curious. I'm not sure you can hear me. I talk real low.
No, you good.
Thanks. But I was wondering, because of the unique sort of opportunity you have here in Connecticut and then beyond, kind of with the move, I was wondering, as cool as this was of an opportunity for you, I wonder if you talked to like anybody else about why this would be a good place or a good situation, and what you could kind of accomplish under unique circumstances. You can kind of do something special here and beyond. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, like I was saying, I had talked with a lot of people. I know I called Z, Shavante Zealous, but I'm gonna say Z, Coach Z. And I talked with her. I've been knowing Z since I got into the league. We met. We randomly wore the exact same outfit, and it was actually here in Connecticut at All-Star.
That's funny.
So it's just so many different things that bring me back here. I've been realizing over the time in this process, but I called, talked with her, and yeah, it just felt right. Like it just felt right. So, like I said, a collection of talking with a lot of people.
And then one more on Zoom, Daisha.
Rachid has really emphasized hustle last season, and that really came to play in terms of the team's defense. From Sanaya's shot blocking, Anissa's rebounding, Layla's steals. You obviously have had many defensive master classes throughout your career, but what are you looking forward to and playing alongside of them, and even thinking in terms of mentorship, right? Mentoring really young, but really exciting talent.
Yeah, I mean, defense wins championships, and the hustle, like you were talking about, the hustle on the court, not backing down. I mean, I know seeing. I remember one time Mara was on me, and she didn't back down. Like she came right at me, and I respect that. I love players that don't back down from a challenge, don't back down from a player, no matter their stature, size, or where they are in their career. That's hard to coach. That's hard to teach somebody. They already have that. And I'm just looking forward to talking to them more about it. Just like I said, sharing my experiences and then being there with them. They bring out the best. They'll bring out the best in me, and I hope I can bring out the best in them.
Thank you.
Brittney, you mentioned you have a lot left in those legs. You feel good. Where do you, after all these hundreds and hundreds of games and years you've played at such an elite level, have you considered
Not hundreds of years, no.
Have you considered how long you want to remain a professional basketball player, and for whatever X years are that you do so, how do you feel like you fit into this league on an elite level for how long? Have you given that much thought?
Yeah, the game is changing. You hear that a lot. But it's still jump shots, threes, and at the rim. So unless it's something different, we got to jump off walls and do some backflips. I plan on, playing, definitely longer. I just want to be able to produce. I want to be able to give. When I'm not able to give on the court, mentorship or whatever it is, then we'll have that talk. But as of right now, I'm not thinking about retirement. So yeah.
All right. If no other questions, thank you, BG. We're just going to do a quick photo op and then launch into the second half. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. We up here. Yep. Peace.
All right, gonna continue on with our free agency questions. Please use the raise hand function. Who would like to start?
Morgan, you alluded to it, how just chaotic this offseason has been, just the timing of it. When did you start planning for it? How do you just kind of wait until you get the green light to go? What was it like? Just walk us through the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think honestly, free agency planning started, early off season, because I think at that time we didn't know what the timeline was going to be. We had obviously hoped that it would be pretty long. So you start your planning early, right, to make sure that you know who you want to target, the type of players that you're looking for. And then I think we honestly got to probably prepare more than we ever did because we had so much time before we could really get started. And then getting to the last 2 weeks, it was crazy. I think everyone trying to talk to the same people, trying to do the same thing. I'm sure any GM would say that it was unprecedented in the way that we had to work, but I think it was good that we had our planning kind of done where it was more of executing.
Emily?
Adding to or kind of continuing to build that young core that you guys have with the draftees and then obviously with the free agents, just kind of what were you looking to surround them with? What were kind of the biggest priorities in pursuing free agents for you?
Yeah, I think the first thing, we've talked a lot about the culture that we want to build and continue to build and getting the right type of vets that we feel like could do that, right? That could be good mentors, like what we spoke about with BG, but also gave us a lot of balance, right? So kind of looking at those players that have done that for teams that they've been on, where they're kind of maybe that underrated player or a little bit more quiet in their production, but they're effective and they're really good. And people that we feel like if they come here, maybe they're in a little bit of a bigger role, but that they can help us and kind of drive us in the right way and also teach our young ones how to be pros, right? And what it takes to be a really good team player, but also, keeping themselves in mind, but knowing that if they play well, our team is going to play well. And I think that we did that with the vets that we got.
Dom?
Morgan, I know teams have been sold and relocated before in all sports. This is kind of an unusual situation with this 1 year, period. And I'm just wondering if you have any general plan or idea of how the transition is going to work. I mean, obviously, this acquisition indicates that you're not tanking. You're bringing in one of the great players in the league. But what is kind of the approach going to be? And to what degree will the new owners have input in to the decisions you make?
Yeah, I think first I'll say a lot of it is above my pay grade a little bit, right? I get to kind of be in the weeds, which helps you not have to make those decisions. But I think kind of what BJ alluded to, right? We're trying to make this year really special, right? We want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to not look too far ahead and live in the future, but to stay in the present. And even for myself, as someone who's been in Connecticut for like 14 years, like it's special, right? To be here and to have basketball here. So I think when we looked at how we wanted to approach the season, it's how do we make it the best as possible? How do we make sure we do our due diligence and give our fans, the players, our staff a really good experience? And then, I'd say for Houston, being able to share resources and give us kind of access to things that maybe we haven't had has been very helpful for us. They've been very supportive in what we want to do and being able to stick to our vision. So I think what the transition will look like is hard exactly to say, but so far it's gone really well.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up, but to be clear, at this moment in time, it's kind of business as usual, right? You're just building a roster right now, and
Yeah,
that's okay.
yep, for sure.
Any other questions in the room? Oh, Maggie?
To what I asked BG about, you guys playing against each other for so long. What's it like now, or how have you seen her game grow just from maybe that one game in college to now seeing her playing against her in the pros and now having her be your player?
Yeah, I think first my perspective has obviously changed from when I played against her. I was a freshman at UConn and at Excel Center and we lost and it was terrible after. But, I think when you at that time looking at her is kind of like in awe, right? Someone that I really look up to and I still look up to her, but in a different way, right? As a player. And then I think just seeing how effective she's been over her longevity, I think is really admirable. For someone, I had a shortened career. I didn't get to play as long as I wanted. And to see people like her that have been able to sustain a really high level of success. And even though she's a little bit later in her career, right? Like people still have to prepare for BG when she's out there. And so I think it speaks for itself. And then just to see what she mentioned, her growth off the court, right? I think her perspective and, the experiences she's had and how she's handled it. I don't know if any of us could handle it the way that she has. And to still be that positive light inspiration. I think she's just someone that I still really look up to and just glad that I've gotten to see a lot of her career. And even going back, I watched her when she was in high school playing in Texas against like Kelsey Bone when they were out there, right? When they're like the top two players in the country. So I think to see the the growth of her career has been really cool to see.
Emily?
For Rachid, what was your familiarity with BG before coming to the WNBA, and how do you feel like she fits into your system here?
I mean, I played many times against BG when she was playing in Russia with a national team. So, and I lost a lot against her too. Now we expect her to to be who she is. So a strong presence on both hands on the floor. And to bring her experiences, her leadership, her positive leadership. So I have a lot of respect on her, on who she is. So yeah, and give some guidance to our young players. Our system is about effort, spacing, but also in and out game. So we know that with her dominant presence in the paint, she has elite court vision. So she will have. I mean, she's fitting with what we want and what we are building. I think that she can elevate our philosophy.
Any other questions? Don?
Yeah, good morning, Rachid. Now that you have a year in the league behind you and you had an off season to kind of reflect on last year, what are you gonna do? Will you do anything differently? What did you learn from last year? How do you feel like your second year in the league is going to be easier or different?
Easier, I don't know. But I mean, this off season was a reflection time for me, what worked, what didn't. But yeah, there is a lot of takeaways, and I have a better understanding of our players, about the league, the culture, and how we can win consistency. So yeah, and how managing day to day. So I think that I'm coming better than last year, because all of that, just understanding the system, the league, the frequency of the game. So yeah, I'm optimistic.
Daisha?
Hey Rachid, nice to see you. Your, go-to word last season was energy, right? Effort. That was something you really emphasized a lot. In terms of your vision, but also building off of that this season, have you thought about kind of a word that maybe might be the team's identity or something that you'll really be focusing on this season?
I don't understand the last.
Is there like a word that you would put and like to give identity to our team?
Team. Unselfish, team play, yeah, effort, the we over me mindset.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
I did not hear.
Yeah.